Hey, thanks so much for tuning into the Daily Dose for Spiritual Growth. On Sunday mornings at Shrewsbury Assembly, we've been going through a series called Family Dysfunction, going through the family life of Joseph. Now, there is a whole lot of dysfunction going on, and we'll discover this week some of that dysfunction of what's happening now with Joseph's brothers, his half brothers, and we'll discover there's another brother now this week that we'll discover. But if you happen to miss the service yesterday, Pastor Bradley still brought the word and actually covering the chapters that I actually want to cover this week. Now, last week, Pastor Sarah talked about some of the chapters with the dreams of Pharaoh and then the dreams of the cupbearer and the baker, and how Joseph was able to interpret the dreams and how he was put in prison, falsely accused. We talked about that the Sunday before with Potiphar's wife. Again, so much dysfunction going on. However, Joseph, through his trust and reliance on the Lord, the Bible says once again the Lord was with Joseph and he was able to succeed in everything that he did. And through all of those things, now Joseph, we will pick up the story in chapter 42 and 43 of the book of Genesis, that now he is put in another position where he is governor. He is in charge of the whole land because he was able to interpret what was going to happen with this big famine. All right, now let's dive in to I'll read the first 8 verses in chapter 42. It says this: When Jacob heard that grain was available in Egypt, he said to his sons, "Why are you standing around looking at one another?" His father's like, "Guys, get up and do something, get some work, right? We're going to be starving to death here." Verse 2, he says, "I heard that there's grain in Egypt. Go down there and buy enough grain to keep us alive. Otherwise, we'll die." So, verse 3, Joseph's 10 older brothers went down to Egypt to buy grain. But Jacob wouldn't let Joseph's younger brother Benjamin go with him, for fear some harm might come to him. So Jacob's sons arrived to Egypt along with others to buy food, for the famine was in Canaan as well. So now we are introduced now to another brother of Joseph. Now this is a younger brother, same mother, Rachel. And so now we see here that Joseph has a full-blown brother, not a half-brother. And you guys remember how the half-brothers treated Joseph. He was the favored son. He was the favored brother of all, and they were sick and tired of that and lied and sold him, and they told their dad Jacob that he was dead. All of this thing. Now God blessed him with another son, Benjamin, and he is like, that's not going to happen again. I'm going to make sure to protect my youngest, Benjamin. But he sends the others. Now, who is in Egypt? Who is in charge of Egypt of all the grain? That's Joseph. So let's see now what happens. So now they have the big famine. They go there. Verse 6, since Joseph was governor of all Egypt and in charge of selling the grain to all the people, it was to him that his brothers came. When they arrived, look at this, listen to this. And if we can remember what Joseph's dreams were, what we talked about prior to, listen to this. When they arrived, they bowed before him with their faces to the ground. Joseph recognized his brothers instantly, but he pretended to be a stranger and spoke harshly to them. "Where are you from?" he demanded. "From what land of Canaan?" They replied, "We have come to buy food." Although Joseph recognized his brothers, they didn't recognize him and remembered the dreams he had had about them many years before. He said to them, "You are spies. You have come to see how vulnerable our land has become." So we see here that these dreams now that Joseph had long ago, now out of his probably being a young teenager, out of maybe some pride, was shared his dreams to his brother, shared his dreams to his dad as well. And now we see, out of all the things that Joseph has gone through, all the false accusations that he's gone through, all the having to be a slave, having to be sent to a foreign land, and yet his faithfulness to God, and yet the Lord was with him. He succeeded in everything he did. Now we see, as Joseph being governor over everything, and people from outside the land of Egypt coming into him. Now his brothers arrived. Instantly, Joseph knew, that's my brothers. These are my brothers that sold me, that kicked me out, that left me high and dry. Now, we'll see here what transpires throughout this interaction right here. Now, Joseph could have instantly said, I told you so, and revealed himself to his brothers. His brothers bow low to him, just like what was foretold to him by God through these dreams. But he chose not to. We'll discover this week why that is. But I want you to take some time today and think about this, because we know that God's promises are true. God's promises, his provisions are for us, not against us. He wants us to live an abundant life. And there's some things that maybe God has placed in your heart that haven't been fulfilled yet. I want to let you know that God's timing is perfect. And although Joseph went to prison and he did all these things, the Lord was preparing him for this leadership role that he is in right now. And I don't know what God is preparing you for right now, but are you taking every opportunity right here, right now, to learn, to grow, to be developed, to be to be pruned, to be equipped, to learn and to do the things that you need to do in order to be prepared for what God has for you? Because we are all in a season of preparation. And I know sometimes it can feel a little painful. It can feel like God is late. God is never late. He's always on time. And so would you go to him with those dreams, with those aspirations, with the things those promptings that he has for you, and say, God, would you help me to learn? Would you help me to grow? Would you help me to develop so that I can be ready for that right open door that you have for me in the next season? And so I want to have you be encouraged and challenged for you to do that today, and just see what God has in store for you today. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you tune tomorrow for the Daily Dose for Spiritual Growth.